Alfred and the Tijuana Brass, and the musical question, Tijuana Taxi. All right, this piece of TV trivia. What popular game show in the 50s did an unemployed actor named James Dean work on? With the answer, ladies and gentlemen, here's Wink Martindale.
Thanks a lot, Gary, and welcome, everybody. By the way, that show was called Beat the Clock. And Jimmy Dean would earn some pocket change testing the show's stunts before they ever went on the air. Naturally, that was before he became a very big Hollywood star. To begin our 5-part Good Morning America series entitled All About Games, why don't we go back in time? Huh?
Back in time. Can you top this?
Game shows were born in the hearts, minds, and living rooms of America. Game shows were born in radio. Quiz shows and money. Money and quiz shows.
It pays to be ignorant.
Dr. IQ, the mental banker.
What is the capital of the United States?
Washington?
Right.
This is real life. You don't often see that on a quiz show.
The 40s were the transition years. What worked on radio was then tried on television.
We thought that in addition to our half-hour weekly radio program, we'd better go on television, too.
Juvenile jury. Where did that idea originate?
Came from Jack Barry. He came up with it about 1945. What he wanted to do is do the counterpart of the quiz kids. The quiz kids dealt with book information. Juvenile jury dealt with human problems. And people ranging in age from 8 to 80 literally sent problems into these 4 or 5-year-old children in order to obtain their responses to it. And the concern we always had was, my gosh, they're taking this advice seriously.
Did you ever have any doubt that game shows would translate from radio to television?
It was rather easy in those days to get game shows on the air. In fact, there were very few pilots made in the 1940s. You demonstrate an idea, and if the buyer liked it, he'd order a show.
The early 50s might be termed the heyday of game shows. Many of the classic formats were tried on TV for the first time as the quiz shows made room for the stunt, music, and panel shows.
The Price is Right was perhaps the only show I put together out of a real-life experience. I was back in the 50s, 55, 56, and I would spend a lot of my leisure time in an auction gallery on 50th Street between 6th and 7th, half a block from NBC. And during the lunch hour, everybody go out there, and there's a guy trying to get rid of some wristwatches, silverware, cuckoo clocks, the whole works. And a crowd of 30, 40, 50 people are bidding for it. It occurred to me that his job was to sell it to you for at least $1 over what it was worth. That became, after a lot of work, a television show.
In the late 50s, the TV game show industry was suddenly rocked by scandal. Millions of Americans had been fooled by some of the popular shows, and things looked dim for the future of TV games.
Not interesting enough.
The password is crank.
Here, Jack, 10 points. Crank.
But while many shows subsequently failed, some lived on. Most notably, the panel shows. The wild and woolly 60s were definitely underway.
The Hollywood Squares was developed out of fear, Wink. We were producing a show for CBS called The Celebrity Game with Carl Reiner and 9 top stars as a once-a-week nighttime show. And it clearly worked. And I was convinced that if I didn't come up with a celebrity show that used 9 or 12 or 15 famous people, very quickly that somebody else would.
In the late 60s, the popularity of game shows faded. However, in the 70s, old games with new faces, fancy electronics, and modern twists put the TV game back on the box.
Whenever the guy's telling me, look, there are only 7 basic plots, there's nothing really new, that is a lazy person. There's always something new. I don't believe that for a second. The show is great. The title stuff. You know what happened, guys? I was so overcome. It was my first show really out on my own. And I so wanted to do everything new.
The 80s have been a continuation of what was started in the 70s. Old shows with new looks and new shows with bigger than ever popularity. And with each decade, the prizes had gotten bigger and better.
25 years ago, you could win $64,000 for answering a question about astronomy and physics. Here today, you can win $1 million by being able to guess Bismarck as being a state capital.
Bismarck!
Did they make it? You made it! You're a millionaire! Listen to that!
I just wanted my mommy to have her dream.
She got her dream. Oh, honey, that's wonderful.
If you like this, make sure to subscribe to my channel for more. And check out my Facebook page for other exciting content.